In the Final Four set. The Final Four set is here. We are 4 teams left in the NCAA tournament. What started as a field of 68 is now
You're excited.
A field of 4. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Rob Dauster here. Terrence, Oglesby, Jeff Goodman. This is the field of 68 after dark. We are live streaming over on YouTube. We are live over on Sirius XM Channel 84. That is College Sports Radio, presented by our partners at Bet River Sportsbook and presented by Underdog Fantasy. You get $100, 100% deposit match up to $100 when you use the code FIELD. T.O.
Yes.
That was an all-time classic.
How about that?
That was a great game. Miami advances to the Final Four, 88-81. Jordan Miller at 27 points, 9 for 9 from the floor, 11 for 11 from the free throw line. Didn't miss a shot the entire game. It was like a young Terrence Oglesby.
Well, yeah, in my dreams, maybe.
And here's the biggest storyline. The ACC
Is
still
back.
alive.
We're back. We might as well call it the South Florida Invitational. You got
ridiculous.
Boca represented. You got Miami represented. I'm not sure many people knew there was a basketball team in Boca until this tournament. But what a run. Dusty May, he's there. Jim Larinaga, he's there. It's good. It's good basketball. It's good basketball. Not the brand names, per se. But that being said, Isaiah Wong, Nigel Pack, Jordan Miller, who, guys, for all intents and purposes, could have very much been the ACC Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He was for a lot of people. He showed why he's so valuable to the U today. How good was he?
You know who the happiest person is right now? Johnny Ruiz.
No doubt. Money
Johnny
well spent.
Ruiz. NIL, not a bad thing, right? Because John Ruiz was at the Elite Eight last year in that run, and he was like, you know what? This is kind of fun. I think I want to help out this program a little bit more. Obviously, you know, he's a football guy, but, you know, give some money to Nigel Pack. It gets out there, $400,000 a year. We all crucify it. But, again, it's going to pay itself back here in the Final Four.
What do you think Jordan Miller is worth in NIL right now?
I'm sure he had some money this past year, too. It's just to get out publicly. But, listen, this Miami team didn't quit. You know, they were down 13 in the second half. They fought back. Isaiah Wong made some big shots when it mattered. Again,
You kept expecting the run, though. It seemed like they just couldn't get an easy one to fall or something like that. And their defense held them up. That second half, their defense initiated some quick offense. Things started to kind of roll. They just need to see it go through the hoop a couple times.
and they only made a couple threes. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing for me is Texas shot it well from three, and Miami kind of hung around. Like you said, they did it with their defense. And Norchad, even though he's in foul trouble, what did he do? He sets the tone, man.
Relentless.
Just tough as shit. And you know what? Again, I think these teams were similar. But at the end of the day, you know what? I think I trusted Miami at the end of the game.
Sure.
I
Because you
trusted
trust
their players.
You trust their
Right.
backcourt players.
Yep.
Where I
You
just
trust their
never
guards.
quite trust. Now, Marcus Carr wasn't 100% at the end. You could tell he got hurt. But
If you would have taken a knee to the side of the thigh by
from
Norchad
Norchad.
O'Meara,
Of course.
he'd been out 2 months.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's going to be really hurting later.
Dude.
But again, you had to run something at the end of the game. And Rodney Terry, listen, you did one hell of a job, and I hope you get the job. But you cannot let Brock Cunningham take a shot with a season on the line like that at the end of the game.
Yeah. And I was wondering when a timeout was going to be called. Guys, I was upstairs packing, getting ready to go home. I got the red eye tonight. Rob hits me. He's like, you need to come down. I'm like, I'm coming down next call timeout. There were no call timeouts. It took too long to get there. You got to organize your guys.
The contrast in the entertainment value between watching the second Elite Eight
Oh.
game versus the first Elite Eight game,
Yeah.
massive.
Huge.
Massive. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I do want to ask you guys about this because Miami, when it comes down to it, I think the difference in this game was if you look at what happened down the stretch, Miami put the ball in their playmakers' hands, and they got good shots out of it.
Yeah.
Down the stretch, you had the Marcus Carr turnover when he got stripped. You had Timmy Allen throwing the ball away when Jordan Miller made the steal.
Yep.
And you had Brock Cunningham taking a bad shot. That is the difference in a game like this.
Well-
3 clutch possessions,
Yep.
3 buckets for Miami.
Yep.
3 clutch possessions, 2 turnovers, and the wrong guy taking the shot for Texas.
And multiple guys for Miami that could make a play.
Yes.
Nigel Pack could make a play. Isaiah Wong could make a play. Jordan Miller, obviously, could make a play. And you could just pick whichever matchup you want if you're Miami. And one guy that does, I don't think he's going to get enough credit for how he played. Wooga Poplar was really good today. Coming up with extra possessions, toughness plays, knocked down a shot or two, hit a corner three. Like, this Miami team, That UConn game is going to be interesting. That length.
You want 5 points in that one? Because that's what the early line is, 5 points.
5 points
I'll
in
take
favor
the
of
5.
UConn.
I think they can keep it close. I do.
Guards are going to have to make shots. Guards are going to have to make shots in a Super Bowl
Norchad's got to
spot.
stay in the game.
That's
He's
right.
got to stay in the game, which is, again, against Sonogo, I think he can. I think the problem is going to be you're fighting Sonogo.
Right.
And then, you know what, all of a sudden you see big Donovan Clingan come in when you start to feel tired.
Right. That's a
But
big point.
give Miami credit. Listen, especially the fact that you look at where this program was about 5 years ago, and the FBI investigation kind of caught them in the crosshairs.
Right.
And it wasn't, they weren't at
Justified.
fault. They didn't do anything.
Right.
Ultimately, they were cleared, but it really, really hit them from a recruiting standpoint, and they were able to come back from it. And Jim Larinaga, man, in his 70s.
Hell of a job.
Oh, what he's done.
Absolutely.
And he's lost some assistant coaches as well.
Yep.
Amazing story.
Yes,
Amazing.
It really. And you know what the most amazing part about it is to me is that I don't think there's anybody that, forgive me for the way I phrase this, coaches less during a game than Jim Larinaga.
Wow.
He's just kind of, he's like, this
Guys,
is
you
what
got to
we
put
want.
your dudes in position and let them rock.
Yes, that's what he does. That's what he does. He puts his guys in the spot. He says, we want this action. Go make a play.
That's
We'll
right.
see what happens.
If you have
If
an
it works,
advantage,
it works.
Yeah,
If it
you
doesn't-
recruit dudes to be dudes, and
Yes.
he gets them there and he lets them be dudes.
You know what?
That's a big thing.
Three of the coaches have never been to a final. 3 of the programs have never been to a Final Four.
Awesome.
One coach has, though. Right? And
Jim
Larinaga.
Larinaga.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
One coach has.
George Mason.
We forget about that.
Yeah.
It's a
You
long
know-
time ago. I know who he beat.
Who did he beat?
I know who he beat.
Say it.
UConn.
Yes, he beat UConn.
That was the Rudy
Right.
Gay UConn team, right?
Rudy Gay,
I
Marcus
remember that.
Williams,
Tony
Josh
Skinn.
Boone.
Tony Skinn. We might be hearing his name a little more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So with Miami now that they're advancing to the Final Four, like first of all, do we get a Life Wallet logo on the banner that they hang in the
Nobody even knows what Life Wallet is. Still don't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Everyone knows that it's a thing.
We need to get Life
No one
Wallet right on the jersey.
Life Wallet. What
Life
is
Wallet
Life
We're going to get
jersey
a Life
patch.
Wallet logo on the banner that they hang for the Final Four.
They're gonna come out with jerseys, and instead of Miami, it's just gonna say Life Wallet.
I'm with it. Got him to a Final Four.
Whatever.
Say what
Whatever
you
it
want.
takes, man. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It is. So what do you make of Texas at this point?
I mean, listen. I still think they had a hell of a season.
Yes.
You know, they had chances here to close it out, and again, you know, I think it's the difference between guys that to me, I trust a little bit more at Miami. That was, and Dylan Disu might have made a difference here too.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, certainly the way he was playing over the last 2 weeks. If we saw a healthy Dylan Disu, it might have been a difference in the outcome.
And Christian
but
Bishop was down there. Therefore, O'Meara was down there.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If Disu's out there, he can shoot it a little bit. Not a great shooter, but at the same time,
He had
at
been
least
better
out to-
lately. He had
At
been better.
least out to 15, 17 feet.
Right.
You're pulling him out that much more. I think he would have made a massive difference, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I still think and hope that Chris Delcani rewards Rodney Terry with a contract. I don't know what that contract is. Again, I'll still say it. I wouldn't give him anything close to Chris Beard money.
2 years, though. 2 years. Let's see if
Well,
we can keep this thing
it's the
rolling.
buyout. It's all about the buyout. I
Right.
could give him a 4-year deal,
Yeah.
but make the buyout be, give him a guaranteed next year. Give him a guaranteed $2.5, $3 million if you want, and go up a little bit, but make the buyout be $3 million next year, something like that. That's not ridiculous. And then just say to him, listen, if you prove it, we'll rip up this contract. We'll rip it up. We'll give you a brand new one, but we need you to prove it for one more year.
I think he's already given him the job. He just hasn't talked to us. The only reason I think so, this is probably a crazy assumption, but I saw Del Conte before the game. They showed a picture of him.
Yeah, he's
he was
smiling.
wearing those buff sunglasses,
Yeah.
the exact same glasses that my man Rodney Terry wears all the time. And I think it was a subtle hint that they've already given it to him. They just haven't told us yet.
All right, so we're talking about coaching changes. Is this Jim Larinaga? Would you ride off into the sunset? You get this Miami team to a Final
No, why
Four
would you?
Why?
with this
He's
run?
enjoying the
Freaking
hell
down
out of
there.
himself.
I mean, come on. He shows up, he has some fun. You can see
Goes
how
get
much
some-
fun
Get some
Jim
Planet
Larinaga
Smoothie.
has.
He goes get some Planet Smoothie. Walks by the swim team every day. He's a man of repetition. You remember he came on the show
yeah.
and talked to us. This is what he does. He's not going anywhere.
I mean,
Why
he
would
loves
he?
it too. You can tell he loves people.
What's
He
he
is
gonna do?
going to have a blast at the Final Four. Now, people are going to have to cut him off from the stories that he's going to tell.
Right.
Because he'll go way like way over. Whoever's behind him, they're going to have to put them last. That's what they should do if they were smart.
Jim's long-winded.
But Jim
what's he going
loves
to do,
it.
retire and move to Boca? No. He's already his spot.
That's right. That's right. He'll go a couple more years.
Right.
And again, why would you retire right now when you've got like this team, this program where it is? You keep this thing going. And I still go back to, again, talking to Larinaga. Right after all this stuff came out with Nigel Pack, I saw him down in Rock Hill, and he was at AAU tournament down there. You guys were there. And I asked him, I'm like, Jim, like, what's going on with this thing? And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I'm not worried about this at all, hurting my locker room or anything like that. He goes, I didn't deal with John Ruiz, and I'm not going to worry about this. And I just talked to Nigel Pack about it the other day, and he said this hasn't been an issue at all in our locker room all year. We don't really talk about it. Everybody's what he said too, because I asked him if it was going to be if it was a distraction. You know what he said? We only deal with one company, Life Wallet. Other kids deal with 5, 10. They got to tweet out certain things. He said all we have is Life Wallet. So it makes, and we know exactly what we have to do. And he said they're making it a lot easier for us right now this time of year. We got to tweet a few things. We might have to do some sort of promotional thing, a video or whatnot. But he said it's really not very difficult to manage.
Yeah. I want to go back to Jordan Miller.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you watch more ACC than any of us.
I do watch a lot of ACC.
Randolph, I always have this in my head from Randolph Childress when he talks about Jordan Miller, because he said that he would have voted for Jordan Miller for ACC Player of the Year, but Jordan Miller was not put on the ballot by Miami because they were trying to get Isaiah Wong the award. 27 points tonight, 7 for 7 from the floor, 13 for 13 from the line. Like, what do you? How good is this kid?
He's a jack of all trades.
When we talk about Miami, we talk about Nigel Pack. We talk about Isaiah Wong. We talk about Norchad Omier. This is the dude. This is their guy.
Yeah, 6'7", long, multiple position defender, does a lot for this team. Yes. And not only that, like having that third playmaker. You know, teams come in, they're so locked in on Pack, they're so locked in on Wong, they're worried about Omier's presence. Mm-hmm. And then you have another playmaker at 6'7", 6'8", with long arms that can make some things happen for himself too. I think that was the matchup that Miami found out that, hey, Allen's a tough player, but I think Isaiah Wong against Marcus Carr, push. Nigel Pack against
Jabari Rice or Tyrese Hunter.
Push. Yeah. I think
Jordan
we have
Miller
the quickness
difference.
We have the quickness advantage in that particular matchup. And
well,
he can
it was
also
like
stay in
Dylan
front.
Mitchell and Jordan Miller. Jordan Miller obviously won that matchup.
He's just smarter.
Well,
He's smarter.
older. He's older. He's older.
He's 37 years old, and
you know
Dylan
what the
Mitchell
problem is?
Just got out of high school.
Dylan Mitchell's still not a threat offensively.
That's
you don't have to guard. The only reason you got to guard him is on lobs.
Exactly right.
That's it.
Exactly right.
It's going to be a fascinating matchup. We'll get more to the matchups in the Final Four in a second, but you know what's going to be fascinating?
Andre Jackson.
Jordan Miller.
Good call.
Is that how you start defensively?
I think you have to. What are you going to put Caravan on him?
They play Miller who are you going to put Caravan on?
I mean, the only thing I could think would put him on Poplar.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
But the thing is, Poplar, he's a good
So
athlete
big
too.
and
He's had some big time games too. He's got some big time athleticism.
But he's got to match up against Caravan's length.
That's right.
That's the thing. And again,
but Poplar's what, 6'5", 6'6"? He's not a small dude.
I think
a couple
6'5".
inches taller.
I think 6'5", and he's big.
Yeah. But man, he's athletic.
I would put Caravan on Jordan Miller. I would put Andre Jackson on Isaiah Wong.
I would too.
I would too. You got to cut off the head.
Right,
of the snake,
right.
Man.
Jordan Miller's not going for 20, whatever it was, one again. That's not him.
He took 7 shots and he got to the line, and a lot of the stuff he got to the line it wasn't like he was putting the ball.
I don't worry about Jordan Miller. Like, to me, he's going to get his 12, 15 normally. Like you said, you better cut off either Wong. I would put Jackson on Wong or Pack, whichever one's rolling.
That's the hard part.
Whichever one.
That's the hard part. You take 2 away, the third one's going to get you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, I think Jordan Miller didn't have a career game, but this isn't what he doesn't normally go for 20-plus. He doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not, and it's with Ruga Poplar, you could put Jordan Hawkins on him, you feel okay about it.
Yeah, I would feel okay with that matchup. But where would you put Caravan if you put him on Poplar?
Put him on Jordan Miller.
I don't love that.
I don't love it either, but that's what you got to do.
That's right.
I think that's what you got to do. Listen, we got to talk about Creighton and San Diego State. We got to talk about that foul call. We got to talk about the way that the game ended. Was it a foul? Was it not a foul? We're going to tell you when we come back.
Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can get a little extra sweat during March Madness and win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In pick'em, all you do is predict whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether that's points, rebounds, whatever. For example, if you're like me and you think Zach Edey is going to go nuts in this tournament, pick higher on his points projection, add up to 4 more picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, F-I-E-L-D, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Now is the time to get in on the madness. So remember, underdogfantasy.com, promo code FIELD.
Welcome back. Field is 68 After Dark. We are live on Sirius XM Channel 84, College Sports Radio. We are streaming over on YouTube. Jump in the chat. Ask us some questions. We're going to be answering them in the afters if we can hear producer Dagan over there on the other side of the room. Rob Dauster here. I got Terrence Oglesby. I got Jeff Goodman. We got to talk about the game. We got to talk about San Diego State. We got to talk about Creighton. We're going to get into the Aztecs here in a little bit, but I want to start on the foul call because that has been the talking point.
Yeah, people are not thrilled with my take.
Not thrilled. No one's thrilled about it. Creighton fans are not thrilled, period.
Period.
But let's dive into, let's set the stage a little bit. Physical basketball game.
Right.
Tie score, 6.7 seconds left. San Diego State ball. Ball comes into Darian Trammell, drives into the lane, throws up a floater. Ryan Nembhard contests with the right hand, got his left hand on his hip. As Trammell lands, he lands and falls to the left. Foul call gets whistled, goes to the line, makes 1 or 2, game over.
Yep.
I'm going to start with you, Jeff. Was it a foul? Was it the right call? Where do you stand?
I mean, it's clearly a foul. I mean, he had his hand on him like this. You like that?
Don't touch
me.
me.
You did a little too much. But it wasn't like a kind of.
Talking to the
mic. It was
mic.
clear. It was clear.
Yeah.
He didn't just touch him. He had him. He had him. I'm not sure how much it impacted, but again, you got to call that. You have to call that.
You have to call it. Right. Yeah, no question. You have to call it. Guys, here's the thing. They say, well, it wasn't being called all game, and I grant you that. It was a physical basketball game. That being said, you can't completely dislodge somebody up in the air. And for everybody who's saying, well, it wasn't called like that the whole game, that's not a point of emphasis for officiating crews.
I hate people who say that also. It wasn't. Well, how many of those exact plays were there?
Not many.
Right. That's
Somebody
what I'm
shot it
saying.
and they were moved?
Right.
Come on, guys.
Right.
Let's be better. I know you're upset, Creighton fans, whatever. I don't care. It was a foul.
It was a foul.
And if you're looking at it objectively, and we are, I don't care who wins.
No, I don't have a dog in
Creighton,
the fight.
I don't have a bet.
Right.
I don't have nothing.
Right.
Creighton, San Diego State. I got no horse in that race. Here's the thing. He goes up in the air. He's dislodged. He's moved away. This is not – referees don't look at it like, well, I've let it go all day. I'm going to let it go. No. Every play is its own individual play. That's how it's been described to me. That's how it's been described to the officiating
And the ref
crew.
had a great angle on that.
Lee Castle,
Right. Great
he
angle.
will stare you straight in the face
Yeah.
and make the call that needs to be called.
Yeah.
That dude ain't no punk. I guarantee it. And he showed it once again. He's done this all year. If it comes down to the end of the game, into the shot clock, whatever, he's got no qualms about making that right call and looking you dead in the face when he does it.
Yeah, you could see the angle. There's a camera angle directly behind the official's head. And what you see is the left hand, around Nembhard's left hand on the dude's hip, landing and falling to his left. That's going to get called every single time. Now, I do sympathize with the Creighton fans that said, why wasn't this called all game? Creighton is the team that wants a little bit more of a free-flowing offense. If you're going to have a game where you're not calling hand checks, where you're not calling that anywhere else on the floor, then I understand why they're frustrated.
Sure.
Having said that, it was a foul.
It was a foul.
It was a foul. I don't.
And again, I say it all the time. Lee Castle's refereeing this game, and he's going to be evaluated on every call. Mm-hmm. And it will also determine whether or not he is officiating next week.
So let me ask you guys this. If that is not called a foul, if nothing is called, he misses and it goes to overtime, are San Diego State fans sitting here saying that should have been a foul?
Of course.
They should have called that a foul.
I'm sick and tired. I get it all the time.
I don't think that they would be.
Yes, they are. Of course they are.
That's the one. Because I don't think if you watch
You're wrong.
that.
You're wrong. They're complaining. Rob, both sides complain no matter what. No matter what, they complain.
I just don't think that you look
Oh
at that
my-
and you say it wasn't a foul if you're a San Diego State fan. They wouldn't have complained about it.
They're gonna
They wouldn't have complained
complain.
about that.
Rob, come
not
on.
being a foul.
Yeah,
Because
are
it
they
was-
gonna complain?
Do you
They're
know
gonna
why?
complain.
Because it was clean up top. That's why. There was no foul up top.
There's
so
going to
no
be a
one-
replay.
Yeah.
You see the replay.
Rob, it was a foul. And,
Right,
and people
right.
would have complained
Exactly.
regardless. One way or the other, people
Trust
would have
me.
complained.
That's what fans do.
Yep.
They complain when they lose. They complain about the
Hey,
officials.
let's blame
Yes.
let's blame the officials, not Creighton going 2
Always.
for 15 from 3.
Every single game.
Let's complain about that.
Right.
Well, no. One, you're correct. Two, the
Right.
reason they went 2 for 15 from 3 is
Why?
of
Because
what,
they were being dislodged out of the air?
No, it's because what San Diego State does defensively. So let's talk about San
It's
Diego
actually
State.
because of Inflategate.
Inflategate.
That's that
So
part too.
I'll be honest.
San Diego
I
State
do
went
not-
3 of 13.
Yeah, I do not enjoy
Jesus.
watching San Diego State basketball games. I do not enjoy it because of the style that they play.
I
This
love
is
it.
what they do.
I love
They make it ugly. They make it physical. They make it tough. Give me Miami, Texas scoring in the 80s and the 90s. Then
Of
San Diego
course,
State
it's
playing
more
in the
visually
50s.
eye-pleasing. We know that, but don't take anything away from the way San Diego State plays, the way they guard, the toughness. I like the fact that you're going to have different styles, and to be honest, it's who controls tempo has a chance to win the game. If San Diego State can't, they have no chance of playing at a faster pace. Now, they're going to be able to do it in this next one because, to be honest, like against FAU, it's going
That's
to work.
two teams that are very similar to each
Yeah,
other.
I mean,
They
FAU plays
San Diego
tough,
State's
right?
just bigger. They're very
Yeah.
similar to each
Yeah.
other. San Diego State's just bigger.
Except Texas Tech has
What's
got
the
a big
line?
boy, too.
What's the line?
2.
The
It opened
line's
at
2?
It opened at only 2. Look at T.O.'s thinking about putting his first wager ever.
I'm not putting it on.
on the
I'm not
assets?
putting
Who
money
you
on
got?
games.
Assets?
Oh yeah,
He loves them.
they're the same
T.O.
team.
loves them.
They're the same team as FAU. They're just tougher.
Very similar.
Or they're bigger.
I mean, think about it. A lot of the guards for San Diego State were what? Mid-major guards.
No,
They
look,
could have started at FAU.
I'm not arguing. I think that San Diego State wins that game by 10. I've also thought that Florida Atlantic was going to lose every single game that they played except for Fairleigh Dickinson. No, I picked them to lose every round of the tournament.
I had
So-
them
Train,
beating
the train's
Memphis.
got to stop somewhere. Train's got to stop somewhere.
Probably, but listen, if they win, again, they won 4.
Florida Atlantic
Why
wins
can't they
the
win 2
national
more?
championship.
It would
You're
be
not wrong.
insanity.
That would be insanity.
I'm going to go to the parade when they win.
Could you imagine that parade?
Boca. All
It'd
the
be a
old
bunch
people.
Of, it'd be a bunch of old
right?
people.
I mean,
just
Larineg's
wheeling out
buddies.
there. Yeah.
They're even going to go.
They're not. If they win, there's not going to be a parade. Where are they going to have a parade?
There'll be a company bingo party.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have it at the
There'll
old
be
folks'
a
home.
city, yeah, a
There-
city bingo
nobody
party in Boca.
Nobody in Boca Raton knows that Florida Atlantic is in Boca Raton. Nobody does.
Another solid point.
Nobody does.
How about this? So Division II national champions Nova Southeastern.
Southeastern.
They win. Now you have 2 South Florida teams in the Final Four. Center of basketball resides
Huge.
Boca and South.
So let me ask you guys this. Is this a good thing for the sport? Is this a good thing for basketball? It is the first time since 2011 that we've had 2 mid-major programs facing off in the Final Four. It's the second time ever, or at least in the last 50 years, that we've had 2 teams in the Final Four playing each other in their first ever trip to the Final Four.
I
Is
mean,
that
I
a
like
good thing
it.
for the sport?
I enjoy it because it's different. It's unique. A lot of these programs, San Diego State, they were 30-2 the year of COVID.
Yeah.
And COVID shut them down, so they had no chance. They had a great team that year, a team that some thought could get to the Final Four. So they're rewarded. Florida Atlantic, a mid-major team, showing that, you know what, these mids might belong rather than some of these, high majors that barely get in, get in the NCAA tournament. Again, is it good overall for the casual fan base? Probably not. Probably not. The ratings aren't going to be good, so I understand that. They want to see Kentucky. You want to see Duke. You want to see Carolina. Why? Because you have huge fan bases, and then other people either love them or hate them.
Right.
Nobody loves or hates FAU.
Nobody
Really.
cares.
name
some
recognition
people maybe
immediate.
like FAU, and they're rooting for them, certainly because they're a Cinderella story. But again, who are you hating in this group of 4?
UConn.
You're not
UConn's
hating
who you're
UConn.
hating.
I mean, hey, Danny Hurley is hateable. I mean, Andrea Hurley hates him plenty of times.
You're right. Yeah, that's true. No, I think in the Northeast, the UConn definitely sticks out as that team. Go to Rhode Island and see who they're cheering for. That's a big question.
Yep.
No, You're right. There's not a hateable team in the bunch. That hurts things.
You need a villain, man.
You need a villain. That's kind of the thing that kind of could get you.
Danny
there.
Hurley can be a villain.
I
though.
think you.
He
I think
could,
UConn
but
is
I
the
just
villain.
don't know. I think he's quirky enough to where people are just like, you know what?
Here's
I can
a-
deal with him.
Here's my take on it. The way that San Diego State wants to play, where the officials allow them to get in the mud, they allowed it to physical up, they want to play in the 50s. I think that allowing that to happen is not a good thing for college basketball, period. Because this is the biggest stage the sport's going to be on. These are going to be the games that everybody is watching. And what are they going to watch? A bunch of physical dudes where they're basically daring officials to call a foul on every
In
possession.
that game, you're right.
That's not something that is good for
And
the
it could
sport
be
to
both
watch.
games. It could be both games because you know what? Whoever advances is going to try to muck it up out of San Diego State. Or
Yeah, but I
FAU.
don't think. But FAU doesn't. FAU
They
just-
can. They can play.
But they just put up 79 on Kansas State, right? Like they'll run.
Yep.
They'll score.
Well, they
can
have
put
the
up
guards
points.
to be able to do it, and
They
even
have really good
Vlad,
guards.
even Big Vlad can get up and down the court.
He can. He can move.
Yeah,
it's
and
going to be interesting
It's
to
the
see.
same thing as like tennis. Like when you want to play that style, it is not visually appealing. It works because when you dare the officials to make a foul call on every single possession, they're just not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Best line of the tournament so far is Dusty May after winning in the round of 32 saying, we're going to go watch film on Tennessee and how to play rugby.
Yeah.
Best line of the
Yeah, that's not a good thing for like. Nobody really cares about Miami. Nobody really cares about Texas. Whatever, right? They're football schools that happen to have a really good basketball season. They just played a thrilling game that was 88-81 with shot makers, with bucket getters, with the floor spread, with guards all over the floor. Down the stretch of that game, last 5 minutes, there was nobody taller than 6'7". They
didn't start anybody bigger than 6'8".
The only big guy on the floor was Norchad Omier. The only big guy for Texas
Christian Bishop.
was, well, down the stretch, it was Dylan Mitchell, the guy catching all the lobs. Like, that was a thrilling basketball game to watch. San Diego State is going to play close games that might have a tight ending that are miserable to watch. That is not a good thing for basketball. And the way that the game gets officiated allows teams like San Diego State to advance. That's my only problem. I think it's a great story. And the team that had Malachi Flynn, they didn't play that way. They spread it out.
No,
they had ball
they went.
screens. Like,
Right.
Malachi Flynn was an NBA point guard.
They have different personnel, and this is generally the way San Diego State has played over the last 10, 12 years. You know, I hear what you're saying. I understand it. But I also think if you got four teams that are all playing the same way, yeah, it's fun, up and down. Obviously, people like offense more than they like defense. I just like, again, I like different styles. I like seeing who's going to be able to control the game and how, and how you're going to be able to game plan to try to slow a team down. You know,
There's nothing wrong with trying to slow it.
How about Brian Dutcher's versatility as a coach, though? You just mentioned it, like having offense, scoring 90 points, this team having to switch it up, all defensive focus, bigger, stronger, older dudes, find ways to win. It might not be pretty, but it wins. It does stink to watch sometimes, but it wins.
Yeah, but like, my issue and my problem is that there was one point in the second half of that game, right? 9 minutes left in the second half.
It was a slog.
There were 3 fouls called on that game. There were 3 fouls in the first 11 minutes of the second half,
That's
and we had dudes bleeding. We had hook and holds.
Yeah.
It was physical. There were elbows being thrown. Like that
Yeah.
was 2 of the toughest teams in college basketball going head to head.
Yeah.
There were 3 fouls called. It was not fun to watch.
No.
It was not visually appealing, and frankly, it wasn't basketball when you play like that.
I hear no lies.
That's my biggest issue is that if you're gonna have the game played a certain way, Chris Mack went on a rant about this on Twitter after the first weekend. If you're gonna want to call the game a certain way, then do it.
Yeah.
But don't tell me about freedom of movement and all this stuff, and then this is what you
Man,
let go.
this happens, but
and then
this
you call
happens
a
every
touch
year.
foul. It just
This
drives me
happens
crazy.
every year, though. They have a point of emphasis, no flopping, freedom of movement. It works until the middle of January, and that shit goes by the wayside. It happens every year. But here's the thing, like, you know going into the tournament, the physical team's going to win 85% of the time. 85% of the
You
time.
have to be physical.
Yeah, you have to. You have to be big,
physical,
you have to
but
be strong, you have to be
There's just a
physical.
line. It bothers me when it gets to that level.
Yeah, sure. Nobody wants to see a rock fight. Nobody wants to see a rock fight where both teams, you know, are combined 5 of 30 from 3. Right? Well, again, I mean, I think
Really,
like
5
the
of 30.
Inflategate is real. That's all I'll say. It's real. Like everybody's complaining
I don't
about
know,
these balls
but
right
we-
now.
but we talked
and the
about-
rims.
yeah.
And then you're going to put them in a huge arena. Like,
but we
it could
talked
get
about
worse.
it too before this game. What does San Diego State do better than almost everybody? Third in the nation, 3-point field goal defense.
Yep.
That was something. Creighton was going to have to make shots. They didn't
Yeah.
make shots. If
And they
Creighton
weren't
would've
a
made
great
shots-
and they weren't a great shooting team this year.
No, they weren't.
They were an
That's right.
average shooter,
They
especially
also-
for
they
Greg
also
McDermott.
missed, like, I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say this, but Creighton missed like 25 layups. They were something like 8 for 23 at the rim.
Yeah.
Ryan Kalkbrenner missed like 4 or 5 on his own that you got to make.
Yeah.
I know you got Nathan Mensah down there, but you got to make those. You got to make them.
Yeah,
3
I-
blocks for Mensah.
I just think we got to give
He
credit
altered a lot more.
I think we got to give credit to what San Diego State has done there, and it's obviously first Mountain West Final Four, and what they took over, and Dutcher, again being a longtime assistant who didn't know if he'd ever get a shot, but part of the reason Steve Fisher stepped down when he did is because he knew he could give the job to Dutcher, longtime assistant, at Michigan, To me, incredible story for Dutcher to be able to get here at this point in his career when, again, people weren't sure he'd ever be a head coach.
Well, that's the thing. You kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but San Diego State had a Final Four team in 2020. They were a 2 seed in 2020, and COVID shut it down. Same thing with Dayton. Dayton had a number 1 seed that year, right? So it's nice to see that coach, those fans. It's probably not too many of the same players, but the same program, and at least that group gets to live vicariously through this group, and they get to see their team, their program.
Yep.
I'm sure Malachi Splint is celebrating right now.
Yeah,
gotta
no
be.
doubt. No doubt. Because, again, he didn't get the opportunity, and now these kids do. And, now the big question is, again, the beauty of this is obviously UConn is a heavy favorite, right?
Yep.
We know that. But it's not like UConn is so good. It's not like they're so good, guys. It's not like you look at them and you're like, they can't be beaten. They've
I don't
been
know,
great
Jeff.
so far, but they beat Iona. Okay, they beat Iona. Iona. It's Iona.
Instead of doing the coaches, or instead
Iona.
of doing the teams, say the coaches.
No, I want to do the teams. I want to do the teams. It sounds a lot better when I do the
Yeah, it
teams.
does.
When I say the coaches,
Yeah.
it's like holy
Murderers
shit.
Row. Yeah.
Iona,
Patino.
St. Mary's, when one of their key players went down and looked like you moving around, getting
Randy
into
Bennett.
his chair the second half, Alex Dukas. And then obviously the last couple, Arkansas, a
Musselman.
good win, but like Nick Smith has been a shell of what we thought he'd be. They didn't have Trevor Brazil. They were a 9 seed, right? They were a 9 seed, Arkansas. And then obviously, last night, another big win, but
Mark
Gonzaga
Few.
is not
Mark Few.
Gonzaga.
Listen to how he's trying to justify
I
this.
am. I'm
This
just-
is what UConn did. They beat Rick Pitino and Iona. They
Don't say the names of the
they
coaches.
Beat, they beat St. Mary's.
Stop.
And they beat St. Mary's and Randy Bennett.
I'm going to hit you every
They
time you
beat,
say the coach.
they beat Eric Musselman, Nick Smith, Anthony Black, Ricky Council, Jordan Walsh, and Arkansas.
His UConn jersey's
One of
in
the-
his backpack
one of
still.
the best. It's right over there. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
One of the
right.
best.
Friggin'
One of the best.
UConn pom-poms.
Game,
It's unbelievable.
game planners.
Got
And then
his
they just
skirt
beat
on.
Mark Few and Drew Timme, who's probably the best college basketball player currently in the
And
country.
again, I've got an excuse for each one of those. Iona didn't have any bigs. St. Mary's was just
All right, so
okay
here's what we got to do.
talent-wise.
Here's what we got to do. We got to put an asterisk next
to
to
all of
Florida,
them.
next to Florida Atlantic too. We got it right. Kendrick Davis rolled his ankle in the second half of that game. Win doesn't count. Then they played
All
Fairleigh
I'm
Dickinson
trying
in the
to say,
second
listen,
round. Win doesn't
all
count.
I'm trying
Oh, and then
to
they got
say-
Tennessee with Rick Barnes who's a choker. Zakai Ziegler tore his ACL. That win doesn't count. Wipe that win off the resume. The only real win that Florida Atlantic got in the NCAA tournament is against Jerome Tang. Oh, first-year head coach. Doesn't count. Wipe them off the resume, guys. Wipe
I'm
them off the
just
resume.
saying that UConn can be beaten. It's not like, again, they cannot be beaten. Don't give them that garbage. Put that stuff away.
Yeah. So listen, we're gonna step away here real quick. When we
I love
when
Kemba,
we
though.
come back,
I am a Kemba guy.
when we come back, we're gonna go all the way into some of the details of just how wild this Final Four and how unlikely this Final Four is. Field of 68 after dark. We're back live, Sirius XM, Channel 84.
What?
Field of 68 after dark. We're streaming over on the YouTube channel. Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman, Rob Dauster. We are at Circa. We're not at the stadium swim right now. We're watching the games down here.
The sports books here
First-
are outstanding.
Outstanding. The TVs
Outstanding
here
place.
are outstanding.
Everything is.
Like
This
you're
is
saying, Like behind us, you're seeing only the top screens. It's like they're not even close to the biggest screen they're using. That one is below. We're up on the second floor. Yeah. This place is legitimately the coolest sports book there is.
Yes.
Like we go outside.
I've been to so many of everyone. I literally can say I've been to pretty much every sports book here, and this blows everything away.
It's unbelievable. I went
the whole
Stadium
setup.
Swim. The pool at Stadium Swim was 100 degrees today. I was in a hot tub watching a game. The first game, at least. I was in a hot tub. Place
We
is
could tell by
legit.
your head that
Yeah,
you were in
you
the
can
sun
see-
today.
Look at this.
I tried to cool him
I told
off.
you guys I would turn into a dodgeball by the end of this trip.
I tried
happened.
to cool him off. I dumped a bucket of ice water on his head. T.O. was not a fan of that.
It scared me.
Why?
Why? I was so comfortable.
What? All right, so this is the first Final Four ever without a 1 seed, a 2 seed, or a 3 seed in it. We just had the first Elite Eight ever with only one number 1 or number 2 seed. First one ever with no number 1 seeds in the Elite Eight. We kind of saw this one coming, Jeff. We kind of saw this coming. What have we been saying all year?
Yeah,
Anybody can win any given night.
I mean, listen, you were kind of thinking about it and being like, all right, that team can't get to the Final Four. That team can't get to, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. We would have said that about really all 4 of these teams at one point. 3 of them we would have said it about all year, pretty much.
Yeah, of course.
Miami was like a little intriguing because we all thought they had high upside, right? They're not shocking. The fact that Miami here is not shocking. Obviously, the fact that FAU and San Diego State are here, nobody would have picked that.
Nobody.
UConn depends on the time of year. But you put these 4 together, and yeah, this is about as surprising of a quartet as we've ever seen, obviously, in college basketball, because it's not like UConn was a 1 seed or a 2 seed or a 3 seed.
What, is it our fault that we didn't pick Florida Atlantic because they were so good all year? They were so
we didn't
good
see-
all
No,
year.
well, here's the thing
we
about
just
it. Like,
didn't, we didn't give Dusty May enough credit.
but think about this. Think about
Owls,
this.
woo, woo.
Think about this. They are, if
Who?
Memphis, if Alex, I think it was Alex Lomax, if he keeps Elijah Martin from getting to his left hand with 7 seconds left, down by 1, if he keeps him from getting his left hand all the way to the rim,
Sure.
if he knows that that's a lefty, he's guarding him. Florida Atlantic ain't here. They're not in the Final Four. They lose
they
that game in
are.
the first round.
But they are.
Yeah, they are. Then that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the tournament, the beauty of this event. But I don't think that you could sit here and say we should, like we missed.
We missed.
We missed on Florida. Like it just they made their run.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, Dawson.
I would love to
Try
find
it.
somebody who picked this Final Four.
No, there's no chance.
Unless you like Aztecs or Owls, I don't see how you make any justification.
You got to
to
be
do it.
an FAU fan.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
An FAU fan and a San Diego State fan because you didn't have them beating Alabama. Nobody did. Nobody had them beating Alabama.
No.
I do think this though. We didn't get the exact teams right? We didn't say nobody got the exact teams, but I think everybody could have said like, yeah, this Final Four is going to be fucking crazy.
Right. We all said that. We all said it all year of like, hey, it's wide open, right? That was the term that the year of the big, and it's wide open.
Wide open.
Those were the 2 things we said all over and over and over.
And talent was dispersed because of the portal, because of the 5th year.
Yeah, I mean, again, portal, NIL, extra COVID year. And I think the next 2 years could be more of the same. I really do. I think you could see another surprise a year from now with 2 more teams that we didn't expect at all to get there. Again, we didn't think the one mid-major team that did it all year. You know, Charleston and FAU were, at one
those
point it
two.
was actually Charleston that everybody fell in love with. Maybe only because I lived in Charleston.
No, everyone loved them.
Right.
Everyone loved them.
And then
Well,
all
it
of
was
a
a fun
sudden, they
team.
kind of
were
fell
deep.
off.
They were run. They played a certain style.
Right.
It was fun.
What do you think Charleston's thinking right now? That should have been us. That's what they're thinking.
You know who they lost to in the first round?
Yes.
San
Miami.
Diego State.
San Diego State, yeah.
San Diego
That's
State.
right.
All right, let me ask you guys this question. We called it the year that since you brought this up, we called it the year of the big in the preseason. Look at where the Final Four is, or look at who's in the Final Four right now. None of those bigs are there. No Hunter Dickinson, no Armando Bacot, no Oscar Sheway, no Zach Edey, no Azuolas Tubelis. The big guy that made it is Adama Sanogo.
Big guy that made it was
Norchad.
Norchad. But
Sanogo.
Norchad is a center. He's not the center of the
was
team.
he 6'9"?
No,
Sanogo
so-
6'.
Norchad's
Then you got like
6'6".
2, you know.
No,
you-
not
You got Nathan
Norchad,
Mensah.
Adama. But like even
How,
Adama
how,
Sanogo,
how tall is Adama?
6'8", 6'9".
Okay, so
Yeah.
6'8", 6'9". Norchad 6'6".
And then you got Vlad 7 feet,
But
and
none of those
Mentz
guys-
is a big boy too.
But here's the thing: none of those guys
Are the main
are the
options.
focal point, are
No.
the first guy in the scouting report. When it comes to UConn, the first guy in your scouting report, Jordan Hawkins.
Yep.
Sure.
First guy you got to figure out. Second guy in your scouting report, what the hell are we going to do with Andre Jackson? How are we
He's
going to
an
go?
The second
enigma.
guy still, you can make a case. I mean, Sonogo,
But
you still gotta.
It's not the first guy.
No, but you gotta. You're looking at the scout. You're saying like, if we don't do something with Sonogo, we're done.
Right.
We're done.
Yeah. When it comes to Miami, Norchad is what, like fifth on the scouting report? All you're worried about is how we're going to box him
No,
out.
he's fifth.
Yeah, how
He
do you
might
box
be
him
fifth.
out? Golden,
know.
Flat, the big
I'm
kid.
addressing.
Yeah.
I'm addressing O'Meara pretty early in the
No,
scouting
I
report.
agree, but you're going
But it's not
long. You're
because
going
of
pack.
It's because of how you box him out, how you're going to pick
Again,
and roll.
you're worried about their guards.
Yes. Yeah.
Miami's guards are what you're worried about.
Absolutely.
First.
San Diego
Scoring
State.
wise, yeah.
San Diego State. You're worried about Nathan Mensah and how you're going to score on him. You ain't worried about how you're going to
Can't
stop
score.
him.
You can't
Yeah,
score.
can't score. You're worried about how do we get whoever our 5-man is to be able to help everything and ignore Nathan Mensah without getting burned. That's what you do. Florida Atlantic. They got 17 different guards on that roster you care about. Vlad is down the list.
Yep.
You're right. Like, and you wonder, is it going to change? Is it going to start to change where at least some of the elite guys who are going to have a choice on these bigs? Because other schools are going to take him. Like, let's face it, if Armando Bacot and Hunter Dickinson go in the portal this year,
So they're going
most
somewhere.
teams
Yeah.
are going to be like, hey, we'll take him in a heartbeat.
Yep.
The Kansases, the Kentuckys, the Carolinas, the Dukes.
Yep.
What are they going to do? What do you want if you're those programs? How many years is it going to take for them to say, you know what? Maybe it is better to have like a 6'8" dude who can move around a little bit. And, you know, like Bill Self kind of did it this year with KJ Adams. I think you need a better KJ Adams, to be honest.
Norchad O'Meara.
Yeah. Like KJ is a straight 4.
He's
Playing
only
the
a 4.
5.
He's a small 5. He can't shoot.
Can't shoot.
And he can't put it on the deck either. He's a small 5. Small 5.
He's 70% of Mark Vital. That's what he is. He's 70% of Mark Vital. But the issue is,
You know what he
extra
is?
30% is
He's
what
a
makes
hell
you
of a player coming off the bench for a national title team.
That's right.
That's what he is.
Yeah. I think what we're going to see, and if I'm somebody advising these coaches, I say break the bank for the guards. You can go get a big. If you want a big, go get a big, right?
100%.
Like, Adama Snuggle has a ton of value.
Nigel Pack.
Has a ton of
They
value.
did break
to
the bank
UConn.
for him.
But what you need is you need the guy like the Tristan Newton. You need the Andre Jackson. You need the playmaker. When it comes to all these other programs, like if you're Carolina, yes, you want Armando Bacot back because it's valuable to have a guy that can rebound, a guy that can throw it into
And a
the
guy
post.
who's going to produce no matter if he's
Yes.
the focal point or not.
But
I think
you
if there's
need-
one thing we learned about
Yes.
Bacot is he can produce no matter if he's getting the ball that much or not.
You know what? You know what
Go
this
ahead.
was proven though a little bit, like these mid-major guards that transferred up.
Yeah.
You know, like at San Diego State, they've done it, or just the straight mid-major guards at FAU have done it, right? I mean, obviously UConn, they added some good mid-major guards transfers that are pieces.
Joey came from San
Pieces.
Diego. Tristan
Yeah,
Newton came
yeah.
from East Carolina.
Here's my question. You guys know where I stand on point guard play, right? Rank the point guards in this Final Four, the teams and the point guard play. There's really only one.
The teams on the right.
There's really
teams
only
on the
one
left.
point guard that stands out as like an elite level, right? Like
Nigel?
Pack.
I wouldn't even call him a point guard. He's just small. He's a scoring guard.
This
He's
is
just
like
small.
this is unbelievable though that we're talking about this and there's now this was the worst season I've ever been around in terms of point guards by far in college basketball. So maybe that's part of it too. I don't know if it'll get better next year or not, but I felt like it was super underwhelming.
I also
What it comes down to is what teams in the NCAA tournament have dudes that can create shots
Guards
for themselves.
Right.
Like it could be a wing,
Yeah.
Jordan Miller. It could be a forward. It could be Nigel Pack or Isaiah Wong. It could be, throw another name in. Jordan Hawkins. He can find a way to score. The thing is if your 5-man is your best player, you have to have somebody get it to him.
Yep.
That's the biggest. Like Drew Timme, he had to have somebody get it to him. There's a reason Strother took the last shot.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
well,
why.
no, you're right. You can't rely on those bigs because, again, they need somebody to get them the ball, and a lot of times they can't get them the ball, so you
Right.
better make a play off the bounce.
How is it that we keep forgetting Jordan Miller? Like, he has been so good all year.
Yep.
Who?
Yeah, it's
Jordan Miller.
and he was so good in their Elite Eight run last
Because
year.
because he's the piece. He's the guy that makes everything else work.
Right.
But yeah, I guess. But like, he's that third guy after everybody focuses on those other two. Like, so good, so versatile. It just impacts winning in so many different ways. Yeah.
Here's my thing. Jordan Miller is why Miami's a good team. Right?
Yeah, of course.
The reason why
He's one of 5 reasons why they're a good team.
He's him, Norchad, like the guys like that are the reason why they're good. What takes them to that top level, what makes them be a Final Four caliber team, is when Nigel Pack is playing like he did tonight, and when Isaiah Wong is making shots off the bounce, and when Ruga Poplar is doing some things. So I think that's part of the reason why we don't, because you know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah.
And it rarely, today it popped because he didn't miss a shot and he made a bunch of free throws, but it rarely is like, oh, wow, Jordan Miller just went for 30. Like, Jordan Miller took this game. No, he goes out there, he does what he does. He does it pretty much every single game.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's there. He knows his role. He's willing to play second fiddle on games that dictate that to be the case. It's really, really, really good college
You need
player.
the intangible guys.
Exactly.
You
He's
need
that.
him. You need him. He is that. Andre Jackson is that.
I think it really helps him too. Poplar can shoot it. Wong can shoot it. Pat can shoot it. Like, he's got all that room to operate. All that room to operate. He's an excellent pocket passer whenever they come over and help him off of Omir.
Yep. All right, so we have official national title futures. UConn is the heavy favorite to win it. The team that is currently sitting at the bottom of the futures rankings is Miami. I'm going to ask these two guys
At the bottom.
how you beat UConn in this tournament and who's the most likely team to do it. Field of 68 after dark. You guys ever get tired of trying to prove that you won an argument,
I'm sick of it.
that your takes weren't hot?
I just get tired of
They
you
were right.
altogether.
You do. You do. Well, I got an answer to your problems. Vaulted is a new sports prediction app that turns your opinions into facts. You can store all your predictions and hot takes in your own vault now and forever. Challenge your friends or your enemies, in the case of Jeff Goodman. Keep track of your results and prove that you are, in fact, the smartest one in the room. Vaulted will also be releasing more than 50 pools in the next 3 months, so download the app at the link below. Sign up for your 3-month trial and store your predictions now and forever. Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark. We are live, Sirius XM Channel 84. That is College Sports Radio. We are streaming over on YouTube. We got about 10 minutes left here in the show before we get to the afters, where we will be answering your questions. So jump in the chat, fire away. Our producer, Dagan Hughes, will be storing them and saving them up. Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman, Rob Dauster here. So we got the odds now. UConn, plus 110 to win the national title. FAU, plus 680 to win the national title. San Diego State, plus 900 to win the national title. And Miami is currently sitting at plus 1,200 to win the national title. T, I'm going to go to you first on this one.
How do you beat UConn?
How do you beat UConn? And who is the most likely team to be able to do it?
It's going to be really hard, guys, because they're so big, long, and physical on the defensive end. But in games where teams have shot better than 52% from two, UConn is 2-6. So if you're able to get into the lane and you're able to score at a high rate, you're going to be in good shape. Also, get to the free throw line if you can. Not optimistic that teams can do that in this NCAA tournament because they're not calling a ton of fouls. It's going to be hard, but at the same time, you got to find ways to be effective around the rim.
Again, I think they are the best team. What if off game, if they don't shoot it well? They did lose like 6 and 8 at one point. It's not like they've been dominant all year. They were dominant out of the gates.
Yeah.
And they were really good in the tournament. Again, it's not like if you punch them. You've been punched before, they haven't gotten up off the net.
Tough matchup. They're playing so well. I think. Yeah. He's done the last every game of this tournament. But yeah. They just fell out there.
Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying. See, they can't hear Rob anyway. The recipe again for beating UConn.
He turned the mic off. Am I back?
You're back.
You turned the mic off.
Well, maybe I felt like people didn't want to hear me talk just now.
No one wants to hear you talk. Ever. All right. Getting it back on the rails. Go ahead, make your point.
No, I was just saying, listen, UConn has had a stretch where they lost 6 of 8 earlier this year. So there's a recipe to beat them. It's not like they have it. This isn't a team that came in like some dominant team, right, over the course of the year. They were really good early, really good late, but they went through a stretch that they could be beaten. I get Andre Jackson's a different player now than he was. But if they're not making shots, if Jordan Hawkins is kind of doing his disappearing act, which he's done at times, he tends to glide, especially in the first half. You know, Sanogo, you can even give him his. I'll even say that. You could even give Sanogo his 25 and 15. But if you limit Hawkins and keep Hawkins to single digits,
Sure.
Jackson's not. You sag off Jackson, and you know what? Maybe he decides he's going to try to shoot it from the perimeter and not make shots. Calcaterra doesn't make shots. Aline, they've done that. They've had games like that. Play them close, and who knows with Miami? I mean, shit. This is a team that they've got guys that can get in there. Klingon, to me, is still the one that, like, is the X factor for me, because if Sanogo's not playing well, Klingon comes in, those guards are going to have trouble getting to the rim.
Yeah, to me, the X factor is Hawkins. And the reason I say that is because if you look at their entire team, like Tristan Newt, you know what he is. Andre Jackson, you know what he is. Sanogo, you know what he is. The guy that can turn them from a very good team into a national championship great team.
And he can do it like this.
Yes. And he can hit 3 in a row, turn a game on its head.
He's the only one who can do that.
Yeah. So, and I'm not sure that I think it's by design that he's slow out of the gates. I'm telling you, I really think it is.
Why would you want a guy like that who could honestly dominate? He could dominate. I would want him going right out of the gate.
That's not what it is.
I play better when I let the game come to him.
They run their stuff, and what they're trying to do at the start is establish Adama Sanogo. They're trying to get the ball to him and get him going so that you have to pay attention to him. And then all of a sudden, once you decide, all right, we got to double when he gets touches, then he kicks it out, swing, boom, you got to open 3. The other part of it is so much of what Jordan Hawkins does when he's the biggest threat is in transition. The biggest threat is in transition. And they get out and run a lot more in the second half than they do in the first half because they're able to adjust to what you're doing offensively, get some more tweaks, they get some more stops, and boom, all of a sudden it's rebound, kick out, hit ahead. It's Andre Jackson gets the rebound and runs, and boom, you got someone on the way. One thing I want to push back on is the idea that you just let Adama Sanogo get his 25. The reason why I say you can't do that is because if he's getting his touches in the post, it means their offense is working. It means they're able to run their stuff, create the angles, get the dump downs, and he's able to
The only thing I'll say is I'd rather give up 2s than 3s.
Well, no, you're right. But if you can get out and pressure on the perimeter and you don't let them get into their stuff, then he never gets his touches. So that, to me, is the key. Like, if he's able to get, 12 post-ups and he scores on 8 of them, that is a bad thing for whoever they're playing. But if you get out and pressure...
I think you're going to stay in the game.
If you look at the Marquette game. Sanogo was not great against Marquette because they weren't able to get him touches in the post where he needed it. What they were able to do was get out and pressure you. They missed some shots. And again, I'll go back to this. It ends up, to me, I think the thing that you said was whether or not they're making their jumpers and making their 3s. They shoot a lot of 3s. And when they're going down, you can't beat them. They're going to go 10 for 22 from 3.
Does it matter? Does it matter that the game's on April Fool's Day?
It's my birthday.
It's your birthday, April Fool's Day? It's awesome. No, the only fluke I could see, like Miami doesn't traditionally guard all that well. Like I'm sitting here looking at their KenPom numbers, 104th. Are they going to be able to guard UConn? I just don't know. I just don't know.
Can
Omier stay in the game?
One is Omier staying in the game, and two, it's going to be who do you have if you're Miami? Who do you put on Andre Jackson, and who do you put on Alex Caravan? You probably have Jordan Miller on Alex Caravan, right? I think you have to.
I think you put Jordan Miller on Andre Jackson because he's a better help defender than the other guys on the perimeter.
Then what they're going to do is they're going to run offense.
Poplar, I'm putting on Caravan.
And then they're going to run offense to get him a post touch because he can score on a post.
Okay. Who's going to beat me? Caravan? Out of all those options, I'm picking Caravan. If somebody's going to beat me, it's going to be Caravan.
Right. Agreed. 100%.
Like you're right. He can score, but like look at that roster. Who are you going to pick to beat you? If I'm picking somebody out of that starting five, it's Caravan. I'm not saying it can happen. I'm saying like if I were a coach looking in, I'd be like, oh shit, I got my hands full.
And I'm praying that Newton's not hitting his
Make
threes.
Caravan go for 30.
You know what'll happen then? He misses a couple jumpers, and then all of a sudden Oglesby has 18 offensive rebounds.
Yep, that's right.
No, I do think that.
I think Omier.
Right. He can
Omier
stand
can
up to
compete with
Sunogo. I do too.
You're showing your fandom
the
a
problem
little
is
bit.
when
Show your
Sunogo
fandom. Here.
when Sunogo goes out of the
You're
game.
right. I just like when you.
They have an answer for hey. They're heavy favorite. They're heavy favorites for a reason.
Right, exactly.
They do have an answer.
Yep.
Our question was, what do we choose to go at if we're an opposing coach? I'm choosing that Jordan Miller's going to be Jordan Miller's going to be on
the help defender.
He's going to be the help defender. He's going to be that guy in front of the runway because he's a better help defender than probably the rest of their guys because he's so smart.
In front of the runway. Yeah.
And I think you got to switch it up. If you're Larinaga, you better switch it up. And again, Sunogo is almost like comfortable
Like
the other night,
1-3-1 or something.
right? I mean, he gets the ball and he was passing it like I've never seen him pass it before.
Yeah.
He's never passed it like that.
I know.
He's
Never
never
passed
passed
it
it
Crazy.
like that before.
So he's going to have confidence going into this game like he's probably never had. And maybe the game slowed down a little bit for him. You could see that.
All right, so we got about 3 minutes left here. I want to ask you guys this. Best player of the tournament so far. If you had to pick a tournament MOP as of today, who are you taking?
I mean, I guess I'm going to go with Noel. Obviously, he's been the best player, but, at some point, you got to at this point. And then you're going to have a most outstanding player for the Final Four. But you have to go Marquise Noel.
Right, as of right now, yes.
Jordan Hawkins because they're still playing and he's been awesome.
I don't hate it. What about Jordan Miller? No?
No,
He's
not
there.
overall.
He hadn't done it the whole postseason.
I think it's Noel. I don't know how you argue with it.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just
you're debating.
For
argument's sake.
Yeah, Marquise Noel. This was
Right.
his tournament.
Right.
It sucks that he's not still playing.
I know.
That's really the hang-up, because I think Kansas State fans would have showed up in Houston. They would have. I thought it would have been great. I thought Noel was a terrific story. Him playing at home in the Garden, that was awesome. He was awesome. But for the sake of argument, for the sake of debate, because they're still playing, Jordan Hawkins.
Yeah, listen, this has been Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM Channel 84. Come to Houston. If you're coming to Houston, we have shows, Little Woodrow's, Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon. We're going to be at the Bayou Music House Thursday night, Friday night. We're going to be all day Sunday at McIntyre's. You guys are going to know. We're going to tell you. We'll keep you up to date on it.
Come see us.
This has been fun. This is the end of our time in Las Vegas. We've been here for 4 straight days. I've survived.
It's been fun.
I'm not completely broke.
Close.
My net worth has gone down just a little bit. I'm not completely broke. But listen, we're going to
You're a horrible.
again.
Yeah, he's a horrible blackjack player.
Not horrible, man. I just got some bad luck. Got some bad luck. Listen,
That's what they all say.
Listen, stop talking. Listen, this has been the Field of 68 After Dark. We'll be live again tomorrow night, 11 p.m. John Fanta, Randolph Childress, Matt McCall. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
And we're clear.
We are clear. Good show.
Time for the
What we
afters.
got? Afters.
Drop me some
Let's do
questions.
it. Do we want to talk
Yeah.
about something else? You got something to go?
Yeah, get some
Matt?
questions.
Questions.
Yep.
Just taking some questions.
Yeah.
Just taking some questions.
go.
All right. Well, I have one for you about the Penn State job. Obviously, you said Mike Rhodes going to visit with Penn State
Yeah.
today. Is that looking
What's
up?
going on?
Yeah, what's going on there?
I mean, here's the biggest thing is so Mike Rhodes met with Penn State for a couple hours today in Richmond, and he's from around there. He's from Penn State. that area. He played at Lebanon Valley. He's got family around there. The biggest thing is he the guy or not? If he's the guy, that means they can offer him $3+ million. Okay? VCU, I'm told, can go to about $2 million. So if you multiply that out, 6 times 3 is what, Rob? Let's see how good your math skills are these days. 6 times 2. 12. Are you going to leave $6 million on the table right now if you're Mike Rhodes?
For a chance to go back to where he's from?
And coach in a multi-bid league. In a league where if you finish
Where they're
in the
just
top
handing
8,
him out. Where they're just handing him out. In the
yeah,
Big Ten.
I mean, you finish in the top 8, you're in. Mike Shrewsbury showed that this year. What were they in the league? 500?
Literally everybody in the Big Ten was either 11-9 or 10-10.
Other than Purdue.
Yeah.
Other than Purdue and Minnesota.
The entire league was
Minnesota was
11-9.
not.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say that Penn State was 11-9.
So I will go ahead and say if Mike Rhodes is offered the job, I do believe he will take it. And then the question is, what does VCU do?
Also, it's Lebanon Valley, but
Lebanon Valley?
Lebanon Valley.
Lebanon Valley.
Lebanon Valley.
That's what I said.
You said Lebanon Valley. And he's from the coal region, which is not far from Penn
if
State
he
either.
takes
From
it.
what?
He's from the coal region up there in Pennsylvania, not far from
I don't
Penn
know any
State.
of that.
See, but I do. I got you.
I know you
I'm
do.
helping out.
Well done, Dagan.
I'm helping you out.
If
I'm
they
helping you
do,
out.
if they do, where does VCU go?
That's what I was saying. So like Mike Burrell
Yes,
would be a guy in the
Mike.
mix.
Give it to Mike.
He'd be in the mix. UNC Asheville, former Shaka assistant coach.
Yep.
So I think Morrell would
He
be.
fits that pressure thing.
Yeah,
Get
I mean
into
he'll be in
Virginia,
the
he
mix.
can recruit that area.
I don't know who else. I got to think about that one. And
How do the people of Richmond feel about faux hawks, though? Is that going to be okay?
about what?
Faux hawks.
His hair, his
He
hairdo.
wears. He has a faux
Oh,
hawk.
Morrell?
Yeah, he's got a faux hawk.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Do you think they're going to be okay with
It's called fashion. Look
I think
it
he'll
up.
be all right. He's a whole lot more fashionable than you are.
He wears the long sleeves under the
maybe
pants.
he
he's
wears
not.
a jacket.
All right, next question. Next question.
He might.
Why shouldn't Texas back up the Brinks truck for Eric Musselman?
He's not even in the equation, so don't worry about it.
No.
He was never in the
There's
equation.
lots of reasons why. The
Right.
biggest one is you want to develop a program where people tend to like each other.
Well, that's not it. Listen,
That's not it, is what he said before he picked up his mic.
Muss is a certain type of coach, and I think, listen, Chris Beard, Chris Delconte dealt with Chris Beard, who could be high maintenance at times before
Muss is
everything
high
happened.
maintenance?
Muss is high maintenance. So, again, Muss is a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think Delconte, and that's why I don't think you go after Calipari. And now the big question is, going to the Elite Eight, was that enough for Rodney Terry? Should have been. Was it enough? We'll see.
Why
We'll see her
wouldn't
soon.
Why wouldn't you just throw a whole bunch of money at Jerome Tang and see if he says yes?
I mean, because he went as far as Rodney Terry did. So how does that look? First-year head coach. He went as far as Rodney Terry did.
His
It'd
only
be
year as
hard.
a head coach.
Huh?
His only year as a head coach.
I get it.
Completely construed
Listen,
the roster.
I think Rodney Terry had a chance all those years.
Look, here's the truth. If Chris Calconte did his job the right way, then he's already reached out to the 5 people, 6 people, whatever his list is. He knows the answer from them. So now it's either he's going to get Bruce Pearl or Jerome Tang or Brad Underwood or whoever it is. He's either going to get them or Rodney Terry's going to get the job. I don't think that you just go out and go to like the 8th or 9th guy on your list. You don't do that.
Right.
You just, if you can't get the 3 or 4 biggest names, do the right thing. Give it to Rodney Terry. Give him a contract that's easy to get out of.
2 year, 7, something like that.
No, I think
Low
you got
buyout.
give him
what I said.
give him like you got to give him like a big number of years because you want to be able to like
You got to give him 4 years
Yeah.
because he can't.
Can't recruit.
It's hard to recruit
Yeah.
high school kids without 4
Understood.
years.
Yep.
Understood.
So you got to give him the years. It's just a buyout. It's all about the buyout.
Yep.
Right.
Make it easy to get out of.
I'm looking. I'm searching here. Jacob wants to know if there's any transfers that UConn is after, but they're still playing. So
we
doubt-
don't.
I doubt
Honestly,
that.
right now we've been so focused on games and coaching stuff that the portal in about 8 days we'll really get to kind
I
of
don't
going on
even
the
think
portal.
I don't even think that those guys are paying all
they
that
are.
much.
Oh, they are.
paying
You're wrong.
All
You're
that
wrong.
much. All that much attention. to
All
it.
I know is I've walked into several coaching locker rooms here and in Albany, and the coaches are literally on the phone FaceTiming with transfers in the portal. So
Fair enough.
they're
That's insane.
trying. They're trying the best they can while obviously,
Yes.
like if a guy has a scout, he's probably focused on that scout. The other guys are trying to hit the portal.
And UConn is an interesting one because there are a lot of guys that have big decisions to make about what they're going to do. Like, are you going to get Jordan Hawkins back? Probably not.
Hell no.
But
What do you mean?
maybe.
There's no decision there. Zero decision.
he should
Danny
go.
Hurley would be the first to say.
Yeah, he's already coming
gone.
around.
So they have 5
Andre
freshmen
Jackson.
coming in.
Andre Jackson. What's he going to do? Is he going to come back? Is he
Yeah,
gone?
he's going to come back. Where's he going to go?
If he goes, he'll be a top 40 pick.
Top what?
Like a top 40, top 45 pick. Andre Jackson. He is the
He is
best.
the most intriguing
Yeah.
prospect.
He is the
Yeah.
best glue guy in all of college basketball, the best athlete in college basketball. And
I think
every
he come-
team is going to look
Although,
at him and
you
say,
know what? Maybe you're
I
right.
can teach him how
Maybe
to
you're
shoot.
right because honestly, he's probably better served in the NBA just working the shot
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah,
So
someone's
maybe
gonna
you're right.
someone's going to
Yeah.
convince
He's a
himself.
futures- he's a
Is this
futures
his
bet.
This is third year.
He's been there 3 years. It'll be his fourth
You know,
year.
the hardest part for me is remembering how many years any of these kids, and if they've got a year left or not. Like
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
coaching staffs don't even fucking
Awful.
know.
No, it's awful.
They don't even
now.
know. I think Adama Sanogo's got a decision to make.
Yeah,
an
'cause
important decision.
can he
to
do
make.
anything more? Right?
It's not just that. Connecticut, he's not going to be able to make the NIL money he'd be able to make anywhere else because of the laws that they have. Because he's from Mali.
From overseas.
So he's got a
overseas
decision to
players.
make.
You can figure it out. That's the only thing I'll say.
You know what the
you
other part
can
of it is?
figure it out.
What happens with Donovan Clingan?
What do you mean? What happens?
If he takes a step this offseason, like Adama Sanogo might be sitting there as great as he's been, and it's like
You're
yeah,
calling this what was his name? Oh my God, the Purdue guy,
Zach Edey.
Zach Edey, and the dude who just left last year,
Like that, it
Travion
could be
Williams.
the same kind of a situation.
Trevion Williams.
It could be the same. No, I don't think that
Wow,
Adama would
look
ever-
at you.
I don't think
You're going to put Adama on the bench next year.
no, but it could be something where he plays 20 minutes a game instead of playing 30 right now.
Here's my question, since Dagan's doing a horrible job of minding the chat questions.
I'm waiting for
Donovan Clingan in the NBA. Can he play down the road? Can Donovan Clingan play in the NBA and
needs-
stay in the NBA?
I think that he can because of his ability to play and drop coverage, but the dude needs to spend the entire. Last year he lost all the weight. Like he had a bunch of baby fat, lost all the weight. This year he needs to spend the entire summer doing nothing but like squats and leg press and lunges.
But he did. He changed
Work
his whole body.
Yeah,
so,
he lost
right.
all the weight.
Right.
Now he's got to really
Wa-
improve the lower body strength, really improve the core strength. That's what he's got.
Walker Kessler is doing well in the NBA right
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And
who
you
he
know
is.
what? Clingan can move, man. He can
now.
move.
Like watching him run. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's a good athlete. I think he could play in the NBA. He can
And
stick.
we've never seen him like actually shooting a game. But if you watch
That
him,
shot looks good. He
If you
got
watch
one
him
at
in
the end of the
warm-ups,
game
he-
yesterday.
he makes
What would
them.
you do if
He
you were
makes
Zach Edey right now?
Zach Edey?
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Again,
Is he-
NIL
NIL
is not
gonna
going to
Purdue?
be.
Somebody's
it'll
going
be
to pony
good.
up. Somebody's going to pony up for Zach Edey.
I think Zach Edey leaves. I don't think he comes back.
He graduated, right?
No.
Was it junior?
Yeah.
Was year 3?
I think he leaves.
Really?
I mean, maybe because of the loss, maybe that changes things a little bit.
I don't know,
But
man.
I think before the tournament, I think it was like more likely that he left.
You know him better than I do, but he just strikes me as the kind of guy that 1, loves Purdue, 2, loves college, and 3, understands that like he's going to be a star there. Like if you're him
Yeah.
and your choice is making, like, I don't want to put a number on it, but X amount of dollars playing for Purdue
Let's say they
in
can get him
Mackey
400.
Arena.
Let's say they get him 400 or 500 grand.
Yeah, let's just say 500, right?
There's a lot more people making 500 in college basketball, and I think people realize.
Yeah,
Can he make 500 on a two-way?
No,
No way.
I don't think he. Well, yeah, you can on a
You
two-way.
don't think he can get a two-way?
You giving him a two-way?
I don't know.
I don't think I am.
I don't know.
I
Not
don't
the way
think
the
I am.
game's played now.
Yeah.
It's got to be somebody like a Clingan who can get out and at least,
Yeah.
push it out to the perimeter or
And the
something
other
with that
question is,
shot.
like-
at least at a
Well,
futures
he hasn't
bet.
shot it at all,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I'm saying.
If it's the same amount, right? If we're talking about the same amount. Do you want to spend a year playing in Mackey Arena, where you're a god for Matt Painter? You can kind of run this thing back, so the last memory people have isn't you losing to a 16 seed, right?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go play in fucking Sioux
No,
Falls?
I get it. And maybe he'll flip. I think he was leaning towards the other way before the tournament.
I hope he comes back.
I do
College
too.
basketball is better with Zach Edey here.
I agree.
Zach, I know you watch the show, man. We need you. We need you.
Nah,
I don't know
love
how we're
Zach
going to make
Edey,
it
man.
happen. We'll get you a Field of 68 sponsorship somehow.
Somehow.
Okay? Somehow.
go.
Maybe we'll have you on the show. You want to do a Purdue podcast, Zach? Call me up, man. I'm right here.
I'm still
Hit me.
trying to get an NIL deal from Field 68.
All right, what do we got next?
Next, if you obviously we've seen all these guys make it to the Final Four. If you had to erase the little number that's their seed next to their team name, what seeds would you give these guys now, knowing what we know now?
1 to 4, you mean?
No.
do
If you had to take away, you can give them
Oh.
any seed, but what would you give them? As the,
I'll give UConn a number 1 seed
Yeah.
now. But that's stupid. Like,
FAU
I don't know,
would
you know
be
what
a
I mean? Like,
3-4.
It's a weird one to ask. Like, all right,
I don't-
FAU,
I don't think that
what are
this-
you going to give them? A 6 now instead of an
Those-
8,
those-
maybe?
Are you
if
talking
Florida,
about?
okay, like Florida Atlantic comes in as a 9.
I-
Should they have been a 9?
Personally, I have no problem
You
with
think
the
so?
seeding. Like,
Yeah.
people spend way too much time complaining about this shit, and now you look at how the tournament played out, and you're like, you know what? Just win games.
None of these teams were the ones that where you're like they were egregiously misseeded,
I
right?
don't know how many were that mattered.
The one that could have been egregiously misseeded was FAU.
Maybe. I don't know if it's egregious.
But we were all hoping like I hope they end up as a 10 instead of a 9, so
It's
you
a
don't get
6.
9 seed.
7.
We were
7.
Yeah, we were
That's
hoping
what
that
I
they were
would've
lower
said.
than they were. The one I would say is that UConn is a top 5 team on KenPom, being a number 4 seed in the same region. Like Kansas probably has the biggest gripe of anybody about where they were seeded.
Right,
and
I
how
agree
that
with
worked
that.
out.
Well, Kansas' whole deal. The seeding, where they were sent, and then obviously not having Bill Self, and then DeJuan Harris stepping on the
and
photon.
the fact that they ended up in the same region as Illinois, Arkansas, then UConn, then Gonzaga or UCLA out. Like they're the only ones that really had to complain. The teams that made it here aren't the ones that should have had the gripes. The teams that had to play the teams that were underseeded are the ones that have the gripes.
All right, we got to wrap it up. Something's going on with the camera, it looks like, over here. So we're going to
All right, let's wrap.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it.
Toast.
This has been awesome. Thank you to Stadium Swim. Thank you to Circa.
Yeah, man.
Thank you to Aaron Oster over here. He's keeping an eye on us, making sure
man.
that we have our agua whenever we need it.
That's
Thank you to Derek for putting us up here. Unbelievable setting here. When you are in Vegas, make sure you come to Stadium
Yeah.
Swim. Look,
Elite
it was
place.
55
The
degrees
best.
this entire week. T.O. got sunburned.
Yep.
No,
T.O.
it
was in
wasn't
the pool with his shirt
55.
off.
I get
And it was
moonburnt.
not-
It was not
it's
55 on that.
55 at that pool, man.
No,
It is
no.
unbelievable. If you haven't been there, you need to go there. You need to go check it out. Best place to watch games.
We're
Or
headed.
Jeff
We're
Cook.
headed to Barry's now for
Headed to
dinner.
Barry's.
Steak
Gonna get-
dinner
gonna
downstairs
get the
here.
biggest steak
Yep.
that I possibly can get. I'm hungry, boys. I'm hungry.
That was great.
For Terrence Oglesby, for Jeff Goodman, for producer Dagan Hughes, my name is Rob Dauster. We'll see you guys again